The Met has been at the heart of cultural life in Bury for over 40 years. In that time, thousands of musicians, actors and comedians have come here to perform. However, our building has had a much longer history going back to the 1850s. Here are 5 things you probably don't know about the history of the Met. Number 1. It was designed by a famous Victorian architect. In the 1840s, much of Bury was owned by the Earl of Derby. He decided that the town needed a public building for meetings, banquets and concerts, and commissioned a design from an architect called Sidney Smirke. Today, Smirke is famous for designing the huge circular reading room at the centre of the British Museum and the dome at the Imperial War Museum. Number 2. It was originally part of a much bigger development. When the building opened in 1850, it was just one part of a much bigger development. To the left of where the Met now stands was a hotel, while the right was a working men's educational institute known as the Athenaeum. The other 2 buildings were also designed by Sidney Smirke and were built at the same time. The 3 buildings were joined together and could operate as a unit. Banquets were often cooked in the kitchens of the hotel and then served in our main hall. Number 3. Bury's Peel Memorial statue was chosen here. When former Prime Minister Sir Robert Peel died in 1850, the people of Bury decided to erect a statue in memory of the town's most famous son. Britain's most notable sculptors were invited to submit designs, and an exhibition was held in our main hall for the public to inspect the proposals. There was an attempt to stop common people coming into the building by banning the wearing of clogs. However, many got around this by coming in their stocking feet. Eventually, a design submitted by Edward Hodges Bailey was selected. Bailey was previously the sculptor of Nelson on the Nelson's column. The finished sculpture can still be seen in Bury's Market Square today. Number 4. Our ground floor toilets used to be prison cells. When the building first opened, one side of it was used as a meeting room and concert venue. However, the other side had a more serious purpose. It housed Bury Magistrates Court and its offices and cells. The courtroom was an open space about half as large as our hall is today. When Bury Council purchased the building in the 1920s, the room was subdivided into offices and storerooms. However, in 2016, the Met was refurbished, and for a brief period, the courtroom was opened up again for the first time in a century. Number 5. Part of the building was once an electricity showroom. In the 1930s, a large part of the front of the building was removed and replaced with a modern shop front. For 40 years, the space was used as a showroom for electrical goods. The stonework wasn't replaced until the 1970s. And that was 5 things you probably didn't know about the history of the Met. Do you know any interesting or quirky facts about the history of our building? Let us know in the comments.